Good morning. I'm here to tell you you don't need more information. You already know what to do. And if you're honest, you've known for a while. So the question isn't, why don't I understand? The question is, why am I not changing? Because what you're doing right now, scrolling, watching, learning, analyzing, it feels like progress, but it's not. It's progress theater. It is a performance. You get the hit of clarity, the moment of, that's it, that's the thing. And then nothing changes. So you find another video, another explanation, another perspective. But information does not equal transformation. The prefrontal cortex can generate endless understanding. But behavior change requires the basal ganglia, your habit centers, and the limbic system. It requires the basal ganglia, the habit centers, and the limbic system, your emotional center and threat detection centers. These systems don't update just because you get it. Change versus insight is low cost, change is high cost. It has uncertainty, energy, and identity disruption involved, and people avoid that. So information becomes the substitute. And then there's the dopamine trap, where learning feels like movement. Every time you watch a video, read a post, or gain a new perspective, you get a small dopamine hit. Not from change, but from the anticipation of change. So here's the loop you're in. You seek, you understand, you feel relief, you avoid personal action, and you seek again. And every time you complete that loop, you train your brain to believe thinking about change is the same as changing. It's not. There is no execution required in that loop. So let's strip this down. If you already know what to do and you're still not doing it, you're not confused, you're avoiding, you're protecting something. And most of the time, what you're protecting is your current identity. Behavior change is not about doing something new. It's about becoming someone else. And that's where most people quietly refuse, because change threatens belonging, the self-concept, relational dynamics, and internal narratives around this is who I am. Many of these kept us safe in past contexts. So instead of changing, people unconsciously pivot to, let me understand myself more, because it sounds noble. It often is avoidance in a sophisticated costume. People hear the truth that requires change and continue seeking validation for where they are. It's the comfort zone of familiar suffering. Because if you actually changed, you wouldn't be the same person anymore. And that creates uncertainty and fear. It sounds good in theory until you realize what it actually costs. Emotional avoidance becomes disguised as depth. Real behavior change requires tolerating discomfort, risking failure, facing withdrawal from familiar patterns and beliefs around loss and lack, our fears. Understanding lets people stay in observation, interpretation, and narrative instead of participation. And participation is where we want to get to. So the pattern becomes, if I understand it deeply enough, I won't have to feel it while changing it. And that's false. You're going to feel it anyway. Awareness is also socially reinforced, but so are alcohol and nicotine. Here's what most people miss. Modern culture rewards insight, articulation, awareness, and language. It does not consistently reward embodiment. So people build identities around belonging, being one who understands, not being the one who executes. Understanding is being used as a delay mechanism for identity death, not consciously, but consistently. Because real change means you lose familiar, comfortable patterns. You disrupt your relationships. You stop getting sympathy where you used to. And you can't use your story the same way anymore. You don't just change behavior, you lose access to who you have been. And a lot of us don't actually want to lose that. So we do something smarter. We become the one who understands. We can explain our trauma, our attachment styles, our patterns, and our triggers. You are incredibly self-aware, and you're still stuck because awareness has become your hiding place. You're not lacking insight. You're overusing it to avoid execution. Every time you figure something out, your brain rewards you. Not for changing, but for that anticipation of change. So now you're addicted to the feeling of, I'm about to shift, without ever actually shifting. So let me say this really clearly, and this is going to be uncomfortable. Some of you don't need another explanation. You need to do the uncomfortable thing you've been avoiding. The conversation, the boundary, the consistency, the discipline. The thing you keep circling instead of choosing. And if you keep choosing information over action, you are choosing to stay where you are. Because you have 10 different ways to explain your behavior and zero movement. So here's the only question that matters. Are you using what you're learning to act? Or are you using it to delay acting? Be honest, because your life will reflect the answer. Insight is not rare anymore, especially with how connected everybody is globally through the internet and social media and all of those forums. What is rare is someone who is willing to change without needing to understand anything first. You don't need another spark. You need to decide if you're willing to burn. And that's what I've got. If you found any value in this, like, comment, share with anybody else who might need information like this. You all know how this works. You don't need to be taught how to use YouTube anymore either. If you like someone that you watch their videos a lot, support their channels. You want to see more? Support their channels. You must be the change you wish to see. Go toward your fear, not from it. I love you.